It's interesting that they call it drip marketing, because not gonna lie, I'm always feeling well fed after looking at them. So let's see what's up with the Wuthering Waves 2.7 drip marketing for our upcoming resonators. The gunslinger and the swordsman. Bullets and blades, baby. Funny how all three words started with a B. And here we have Galbrena. Goddamn girls looking hot. Literally. I swear I'm gonna say that with every female Fire Forte user. With this hellfire to consume them all. Galbrena, fiend of ever-burning flame. Discord slayer. So what, Galbrena's gonna be at the firing range for these Discord kittens? She has been to hell and back, through countless battles, deepest darkness, and much more. She hunts, going from one hunting ground to another, and will never stop hunting. Damn, when is Girl gonna hunt me? I'm happy to be her prey. Eat me. Jesus, when you read that description, outside all my very brain-rot jokes, she's had it tough. Very tough. This just must be her seinen anime training arc or something. But still, to call her fiend of ever-burning flame, I'm suspecting that means the source of her powers must come from some kind of heretical nature. I mean, look, at this point, it's pretty much confirmed Angel is Galbrena. So perhaps it's very possible that Galbrena did indeed get powered up by the Dark Tide, hence being called a fiend. I mean, she did one time transform into something very otherworldly, so my god, this is beautiful. Spectacular. This is hot. Again, I mean, look how well they use the colors. It's all bathed in blue, but it doesn't feel like you're drowning in the blue, you know? It feels like they're very balanced it out well with the other colors. Now, what's also very interesting about the blue is, of course, the blue flames. And I'm likely thinking this is the Hellfire. I'm about to bring out my inner weeb here. How many animes have you seen which featured a main character using Hellfire, right? And that Hellfire was blue. I can name a few off of my head, but the one that immediately comes to mind is Blue Exorcist. Thus, I'm pretty damn sure the blue fires here is the Hellfire. Then what's also interesting about the Hellfire is that it's not just fire, it's actually like conjuring a particular form. In this case, a floating beast head, some wings, and I think that's a snake? Oh yes, it is a snake. So when Galbrena mentions with this hellfire to consume them all, yep, she literally means it. That fiery head's gonna eat some ass. But speaking of this fiery head, I'm so interested, why is it that, like, despite being a conjuration, it's immediately got a Gucci product on its head? Is that what also forms as part of its manifestation in the fire? And also with that snake symbol on it, I'm thinking that, like, all this, the wings, the head, the snakes, that's all part of one being. And the only mythical animal that comes to mind which has all three of these traits is a chimera. Oh yeah, speaking of chimeras, they also have like a goat head sometimes, so I guess that explains where the horns come from. Alright, I think that's her hellfire summed up. Outside of her hellfire, I also want to look about how there's two distinct flame colors clearly that are here. There's the blue flames, and then there's the yellow flames. Now the yellow flames look more akin to what she was burning with back in her childhood. So perhaps this fire is like the fire from her original forte, and then this fire is the one from the Dark Tide? Although you see how the red flames sort of coalesce into the blue flames? It's as if this is like a product that's required in order to make the blue flames appear. So maybe this fire is like igniting the Dark Tide or something to then make these blue flames? I swear Qiuyuan's analysis was talking about something like that, but I sort of forget about it. Anyway, main point is, clearly there's two flames here. Now, what's also interesting to note is that you see here, there's like two echoes right here. They're not even colored, but like they're in the background. I mean, initially when I first saw this, I was thinking, oh, bet, that's Imperator. It's a freaking horse. But then you see this little being at the top and it's like, oh, okay, nope, that's actually some kind of Dullahan. And then you have the harpy figure here. And being in Huanglong and Rena Sita, I've never seen any Echo or Tacit Discord which look like either of these two. So perhaps Galbrena has really been around hunting everything she can. And seeing as she has no affiliation or team that she's a part of, it makes sense why she's been traveling so much, because she has the freedom to. She's not bound by any organization. Although in saying that, and unfortunately Twitter already got to this before I did, see that little bloom on her left arm? Oh, another woo-wah little mishap that's leading into a spoiler. Because apparently you don't see that in any of her other arts except for this one. So I guess we know the aftermath of what's going to be happening in Wuthering Waves 2.7. Now I've been looking plenty at her abilities, but let's actually look at the person herself. Because Forte is one thing, but Galbrena is still Galbrena. I swear in the trailers this was meant to be some kind of powered wing, but in the artwork this looks to be like a legitimate wing. From angel to fiend. Is it because you only have the one wing? Speaking of one-winged angels, yeah, you could totally pass off as being Sephiroth's daughter. So when you face off with Cardathea, don't do the same thing as your dad and put a sword through her back. Now this might be a bit of a hot take, but part of me wishes she had more like skin-tight jeans rather than tights as her leggings. Like, I mean, it's definitely better than being bare, but I don't know, I guess I've just always liked pants on a woman. And then finally, outside her killer face guard and portions, that belly button. No, girl works out, that's what I'm trying to say here. But to be fair, when you've been basically fighting for all of your life, you're guaranteed to have a fantastic figure and a fantastic power. Gosh, the flashiness of this all. Now, before we go into how it looks all animated, let's read another description as part of her drip marketing. The monsters are walled in by Galbrena's ever-burning hellfire. They have a choice to make, to be purified and become her servants, or to be reduced to ashes. Wait, being purified or being reduced to ashes? Maybe the yellow fires are her purifying flames. And then you have the hellfire, which is clearly the main offensive force. Oh, so the float, it actually moves. I don't think I've ever seen that as a part of a drip marketing PV. And it also sounds really cool though. Oh, it's so fitting of her character actually. God damn. Oh, that's the full portrait. Oh, and the snakes are way more clearer too. Oh, so that's what it's all meant to look like. But you see how they incorporated some 3D CG as part of the drip marketing? I don't know if they've ever done that before. But I guess Galbrena's really just that special. I mean, to be fair, she is Augusta's friend, so makes sense. And you know what's also very interesting to note? Galbrena is the first Resonator who actually has a snake motif. And if you recall in Septimon's iconography, there is a snake in that symbol. So just by that association alone, I feel like Galbrena is definitely something to be very mindful of as we come into Wuthering Waves 2.6 Part 2. And it's great that they've actually sort of kept it consistent with player expectations. She is a fusion pistol type. Because if you recall, like with the last few Resonators, I feel like Qiuyuan games, they've been experimenting a little bit too hard. For example, they made Chikona be a freaking pistol user, or making Augusta be an electro type, even though she clearly looks like a fire type. I mean, they call her the goddamn sun. That being said, don't take it the wrong way around. I am completely not against Wuthering Waves doing that stuff. I love it when the team gets really creative with the Resonators and subverts our expectations, but I also like it when they keep things within expectations. Yeah, I just like variety is all I'm saying. It's been so long since I saw this art. Y'all remember the first time we saw all of this? Crazy days, man. And now that I see it all up close, god damn, that girl works out hella well. She should be more of a personal trainer than a mercenary. God damn. I mean, look at the crease in her muscles. You see that? That's like their abs right there. They did the shading well so good. I'd 100% drink wine off her stomach, and I'd pay for it too. Clip that message if you want. I stand on that hill. And then finally, we have another description as part of a drip marketing. Ever armed, ever burning. I mean, to be fair, that is the most accurate description I can use for Galbrena. In that flashy drip market art, she was completely doused in flames. And if that wasn't enough, her left hand had a blicky, and her right hand looked like it could make your guts fall out with one proper bitch slap. So with all that being said and analyzed, yeah, that's my very bootleg casual review over Galbrena's drip marketing. Time to look at some penis now. Huang Long penis.
Have you tried Chinese sausage before?
Qiuyuan, one strike to settle it all. A swordsman of cool resilience and absolute integrity, wandering Huang Long alone. He seeks not fame nor high office, but mastery of swordsmanship and a life guided by high morals. There's something that immediately comes to mind when I compare this artwork to Galbrena's. It is not flashy at all. It is completely devoid of it. But that all seems very in line with his character. He feels like the kind of warrior that's very effective and efficient. The fight doesn't need to get flashy. The fight won't get flashy, because the moment he starts fighting, the battle ends. If Galbrena is a Demon Slayer episode, then Qiuyuan is a one-shot manga. Man looks great. Man looks hot. Time and time again, Qiuyuan Games has never failed to make a good-looking male character. Perhaps that is one of the most consistent things about them, outside failed launches. So fingers crossed come 3.0 they capitalize more on the male production, because I too do enjoy their males indeed. And that's not even me being homo, I just like playing as badass dudes. And Qiuyuan just happens to be badass and hot. One strike to settle it all? More like one stroke to impregnate them all. Whilst I've never seen this pagoda in Jinzhou before, I suspect we'll be going to another city in Huanglong. And this other city might be where Qiuyuan's come from. And then you have the mountainous scenery with the beautiful moonlight, which is surrounded by the beautiful bamboo shoots, and he's on top of a building because, you know, aura farming. You know how there's that joke about people saying, oh, you're not that guy, you're not that guy? When they're referring to that guy, they mean Qiuyuan. Because there are also speculations that Qiuyuan actually might be blind as well. But to be fair, what's the point of needing to see anything when you're so good at the sword, everyone's basically dead to you? Not sure if I've mentioned this, but Qiuyuan is indeed the very Shansha Wuxia attempts by the Qiuyuan Games team to implement it into Wuthering Waves. And I think they've done a really good job with incorporating the futuristic elements of Wuthering Waves into those Chinese genre novels. I feel like the traditional cloaked garbs and the long hair, the ponytail are balanced very well with the futuristic garbs he has here. Now, initially with this bamboo shoot, I was thinking, oh yeah, that could totally be his sword, right? But now that we know he is indeed a wanderer, I'm starting to think otherwise. Because from a lot of the fictional media pieces I've seen, whenever there's like a wanderer kind of character, do you know what they're always carrying with them? A particular stick object. And that stick object is to basically help them carry around like a sling that's got a bag, and in that bag's all the stuff they'll ever need. And thus I suspect the stick's use case will be the same thing. Qiuyuan just has this in order to carry his things around as he wanders the world. Although, as a swordmaster, it also makes me think that this is also what he uses in case he doesn't want to kill anyone, but he wants to school someone. Kind of like when teachers in the older days used to beat their students with a ruler. Although perhaps saying olden days isn't quite accurate, because I'm pretty sure in some countries, some kind of student disciplinaring is still done by teachers. Now, I could be overthinking here, but there's something that kind of scares me. It's that you see how there's these red streaks, and these red streaks are sort of being painted over by his background here. And then you have the birds here, and I swear because of red and the birds, Christopher really stuffed me up, man, because now I'm just over analyzing whenever I see these two elements. Now, yes, this could totally be just part of the paint style, but like covering up the red and the fact that the Fraxis hasn't revealed any members from Huanglong yet. This is so wild as I'm saying this, but why does some small 0.01% of me think that Qiuyuan could be a Fraxis member? I mean, if you look up close, there's these tiny little streaks of red on him as well. And then with Qiuyuan being a kind of wanderer character who never really is part of the politics of Huanglong, I guess, he'd be perfect for the Fraxis' needs. But still, perhaps that is a very just overthinking me. Christopher has done some trauma onto me, and that trauma has been projected onto these predictions right now. But I guess if there's something I should be overanalyzing, where is this tacit mark? I've heard a lot of crazy rumors in terms of where his tacit mark could be, but I don't think those were rumors, those were more like thirst. Still, when I think about the last person who was completely clothed and didn't have their tacit mark completely visible, it was Zani. And as part of her ultimate, she actually had her clothes stripped off. So maybe Qiuyuan will be that kind of guy. As he unsheaths his sword, so does his clothes. And then so does his second sword from his pets. Actually, if I think about that seriously, that could work. Because dude's sword swings are so powerful, even his clothes can't handle it. But I guess if there's one more interesting little thing to point out before we move on from his beautiful artwork. I'm sorry, Kuro Games team, why did you have his bamboo positioned here? I mean, yes, if I'm thinking appropriately, maybe the bamboo's just lying on the surface of the roof, but like, come on, is this meant to be a metaphor for something? Qiuyuan's that kind of sword master. Okay, fine, Withering Waves team, you got it. Now let's see how the description reads as part of its animated showcase. Bamboo leaves dance in the wind. A light rain is starting to fall. Qiuyuan holds his breath, light bouncing off his sharp blade. He senses the enemy's state of mind and weak spot, and like a flash, the blade flies out. The enemy is done for. This guy's basically a one-trick pony. You have Saitama's One Punch Man, and then you have Qiuyuan's single slash swordsman type beat. And as we can see from this description about his senses, the enemy's state of mind and weak spot, I guess he doesn't really need his eyes to do that. It's all that swordsman's sixth sense. Alright, beautiful gold moonlight. Single slash, that's Qiuyuan trademark. Oh, that music's actually really nice. Ooh. Okay, I like it. Now, with that description of light bouncing off his sharp blade, I mean, that pretty much confirms that dude does use a blade. I don't think the bamboo shoot is his actual weapon, because light can't bounce off of something that's not shiny. Still, with that description about one strike to settle it all, it's definitely making me think that he's the type that only brings out his actual edge once the battle needs to end there and then. So here's my theory on how he could play. I'm thinking when he fights with whatever blade he's using, he actually is going to be using the sword when it's sheathed. So as part of his normal state, he'll be basically bashing his enemy with the sword's sheath. Although perhaps bashing is a barbaric word, he'll be using his ancient Chinese techniques to really whip him up. And then maybe in a skill or resistance liberation, that's when he'll bring out the edge and absolutely finish someone. Or maybe his resistance liberation will be like a two-stage thing whereby he'll first bring out the blade and then you do a bunch of combos and then it'll ultimately end with one giant flash and then he goes back and puts the sword back in its sheath. End. So that's how I'm thinking he could play. And yes, I'm thinking he will have a sword, because I don't think the broadsword has like a sheath, but I know the normal swords have a sheath. Hence him being a normal sword user. Arrow and sword. Another resonator who's sort of within the expectations of the players. And when I think about to his previous drip marketing and all the descriptions about the wind and then the nature, the bamboo shoots, yep, this is the perfect attributes for our guy. Another throwback to Wuthering Waves 2.4's live stream. I remember when we all saw this, it was just like, it's a man, it's a man. For Sekiro games, that's kind of the reputation you have right now. It's a historic event when there's a man that's featured in your game. I'm hoping in the later patches, you'll be able to change that reputation so videos now, oh, we have some really cool resonators, as opposed to, oh, it's a man. And honestly, Qiuyuan Games, you can do it because we've seen you consistently make really cool male characters. That is a shining consistency of yours, and I'm hoping you'll learn how to capitalize it in the future patches down the road. Leave the dangers to me. God damn, that really just sounds like this dude's gonna be taking all the trouble. Dude is handsome as he is chivalrous. That's what you call peak masculinity. Although when I read the line again, leave the dangers to me. Yes, I'll leave your dangers being your fan base to you. Because have you seen how crazy they are? They'll swallow you whole. And I'm not talking about that in the appropriate sense at all.
I swallow!
Yes, I went to the effort of doing this quick little Photoshop editing as part of the ending, don't at me. But before I ended this video, there's actually a particular parallel I wanted to talk about with these two characters. Because did you know that both resonators are kind of like wandering type of characters? Galbrena's been wandering around the world, killing all the tacit discord she can, whilst Qiuyuan has been wandering around the world too, but it's all to hone his swordsmanship. Anyway, would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on our two resonators here in the comments below. Follow my socials if you want to keep up with your boy, and like and subscribe if you want more from your boy. Much love, and take care.